Hey everyone, welcome back to another Draw With Me video. After my previous video where I reviewed the Pentel Arts Oil Pastel set, today I will finally be giving some of my thoughts with my current pastel of choice, which is the Mungyo Gallery Soft Oil Pastels. So the box itself comes in a sleeve and there's a little cover inside with a tiny informational pamphlet showing color swatches and other tidbits about your set. The pastels themselves have a nice body to them. I don't think that they're too thin, they're not too fat, and it's about 3 inches long, and here's a comparison to a Pentel Arts pastel. I'd say it's a really big contrast, and you can kind of just imagine the difference in longevity between the two as well. Here I'm just doing some quick swatches of the primary colors just to show you guys the color value and the blendability. Just with using my fingers to blend, you can see how easily it smudges and feathers out. The pigment is also pretty packed on, and you can see how opaque the colors still look despite the smudging. So for today's time lapse, I had already done a preliminary sketch using colored pencils, so we'll just be jumping onto the coloring. This drawing is actually inspired by a trip to the Oregon coast that me and my boyfriend went on a few months back around late April, and we had never been to Oregon before, and we really do feel like we fell in love with Oregon, to be honest. I mean, the nature, the climate, and the culture, it really was our vibe, and honestly, we just really want to go back again soon. The reference photo was actually a photo that I took from a beach in Oswald West State Park, and I remember it was such a rainy weekend morning, but there were still a good amount of people out on the beach surfing, and I thought it was really cool to see that since I come from a landlocked state and we really don't get to see too many people surfing ever, or I guess just the ocean in general. But anyways, I thought that a quick landscape drawing can be a really good way to show you guys these pastels in action. The first notable thing I would say, and it's probably my biggest qualm about the set in particular, is that I don't think that it has a very good range of grays. In my set, I have a gray, a light gray, and a dark gray. And I know that the 72 and the 120 count sets have a greater range than mine, but I'm honestly not a big fan of the color value of these grays. I think they're a little too blue leaning in my opinion, and I don't think that they have enough black in them, and that's why sometimes I really have to add a tiny smidge of black pastel in my mix. I think the chemistry with the pigments also work well across the board. These pastels are very blendable and you can really get a good mix of colors if you work them out. I do think though that depending on your style or technique, you might be able to say that at certain points they may even be a little too blendable. But personally, I like a little hardness in my drawings, and sometimes I do find the more that I work the pastels around, the more my layers tend to just move and blend together. I find that giving your layers some time to rest and harden a little bit will usually do the trick. I've also used these on a few different surface types now, and even a good amount of different types of blending tools, and I'd say that despite all of that, I think that it still holds well throughout. I've also even tried applying it like oil paint by thinning out some of the pastel shavings using linseed oil, and I've had some really interesting results. So I do think that this set in particular is a very versatile set without having to sacrifice the quality of the pigments. I do think that this set in particular will help you achieve some really interesting experimental results. Overall, I do think that this is a good set if you want quality without having to shell out so much money to begin with. And for the color range, I do say that it's worth it to just go ahead and start with the 48 count, since really it's not that expensive, especially compared to some of the other higher grade sets. And really you get to play around with more colors, so I do think it's best to just start out with the 48 count. And here is the final piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this time lapse, and I really do hope to review more pastels in the future. A lot of the pastels that I haven't tried before too, so I think that'll be a really exciting draw with me video. If you want to see more videos like this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. For more art, you can follow me on Instagram at marcelcow_art. Thanks for watching.